Welcome everyone to the final video in my Ashes of Creation's lore video series. The purpose of this series was to catch everybody up to the point in the game where we the players will enter it. If something with the lore significantly changes in the coming months, I might release a new video, but as for right now, this should catch us up to the state of the world as we will experience it. Before we do that though, a bit of a recap. If you want the full version, check it out on my channel. I'll put a link right here somewhere, right there. And without further ado, let's begin. In the beginning of the universe, the 10 gods were created alongside the Essence, an energy that can be manipulated to perform magic. Being birthed alongside it, they were able to gain a perfect mastery over its use. They created a race called the Ancients to be stewards over all of their creation. Unfortunately, 3 of the 10 disagreed on the treatment of the Ancients and thought they should teach the Ancients everything that they knew, including the darker manipulations of the Essence. This disagreement turned into an all-out battle where the 7 remaining gods triumphed over the 3 rebelling gods and the Ancients and banished them into the void. Here, the others would finish teaching the Ancients everything they knew about the Essence. The remaining 7 would go on to create the major races of humans, dwarves, elves, and orcs on the world of Vera as the new stewards of creation. Fast forward through time, and a greedy sorcerer known as King Atrax would unknowingly begin communing with the others and would inadvertently bring about the end of the world. After learning of Vera's existence, the others and the Ancients became angry and jealous that the 7 would dare create new stewards and thus launched an attack on Vera, corrupting and destroying everything in their path. Facing annihilation, the races of Vera fled through newly created gates to Sanctus, where they would rebuild, leaving Vera behind to be consumed by the Ancients. Now that recap, along with my other 2 videos, covers the origins of the universe and the fall. The final piece is the story of Deliverance, and that's the story that we will experience the tail end of. In order to get to that, we first need to discuss the playable races. Now, the developers have not released too much information on the races yet, so we don't have a whole lot to go off of. Also, keep in mind, this is the state of the races kind of in Sanctus or before the fall, so it's not necessarily the races we will play. It's just to kind of give you background and history on who they are and where they come from. With that being said, the Ayla humans are the descendants of the Aylan Empire, an empire that existed before the fall. Before the last century, when the fall took place, there was a war. The Great War of the Undying. During this time, the ruling house of Lenneth fell, and after the war, no suitable heir to the throne was left. The country fell into chaos, and what arose from the ashes was a fragile republic. This republic was overseen by an emperor elected through the Council of 5, the 5 who governed the greatest cities in the empire. Aylans represented the single largest population of Vera, with over 8 million inhabitants, and the Aylan Empire was by far the largest nation in all of Vera, with their borders touching upon every other nation, and they had a serious interest of expansion into the seas. The Aylan Empire was able to deploy their widely feared armies to any shore, and would use this fear to bully many city-states. The ancestral home of the Aylan Empires is the Riverlands, and the humans are split into 2 races, the Kalar and the Valoon. Build, order, civilization. These are the foundational principles of the Kalar. Their empire in the old world spanned the largest of all, and they plan to do the same in the new world. Extremely loyal to their roots, the Kalar will rise to the challenge. Trade, law, hardship. The Valoon were forged in the heat of the desert, and through the ages became the blade that bends but does not break. Through the development of a complex web of relationships and savvy negotiations, the Valoon grew into one of the wealthiest empires in Sanctus. Despite having few natural resources to exploit themselves, their environment has taught them what it means to kill or be killed, whether through the beasts of the desert or the snakes in the market square. Deep within the mountains of Vera, legends tell of a forge created by the gods, from whence all dwarves are originated. Fabled to be the first created of all the major races, the center of the dwarven race is the nation of Dunzen-Kel, found deep within the northern mountains. Dwarven clans tend to be heavily matriarchal, with their clans oftentimes existing under the leadership of the eldest matriarch. The Dunzen-Kel nation is the oldest nation in the world. The dwarves of Dunzen-Kel rule through a council of guilds from which a royal family is chosen to rule every 200 years. It is believed that deep within the Underrealm lies the source of secrets among the dwarves and their success with mastering artisanship. The rumors are true. Untold magic does indeed lie deep within Vera, its source unknown, from which the dwarves have long benefited from and use it to fuel their expansion into the dwarven kingdoms. The dwarves are split into two races, the Dunir and the Nikua. Stoic, tradition, forge. Where most people of the old world saw a mountain and thought nothing of it, the Dunir saw a defensible home filled with riches. The Dunir take immense pride in what they craft and build. Their creations range from fortifications that seem impenetrable, warhammers that never break, or gems fit for royalty. You might be deceived by their stout nature. The Dunir are pound for pound the strongest warriors the world has ever known. Family, freedom, courage. Where the Dunir saw mountains at home, the Nikua saw it as a prison. How could they complete the great hunt inside a cave? The craft of their brothers does not elude them, though. The Nikua are equally skilled artisans, however, they use crafting as a rite of passage and for advancement of their families. The Kaivek orcs have always adhered to a strict code of tribal loyalty. Once, a leader named Rankal united the clans into a nation called the Kaivek Protectorate. Kal taught that all orcs answer to the protection of the divine order. This teaching expressed that it was the will of the gods that orc kind should have superiority over the nations of Vera, to unite all of Vera and deliver them to enlightenment. This teaching led the Kaivek to pursue campaigns of conquest across the lands of Vera. Where the orcs were once nomadic and divided before Kal, through his leadership they became a powerful nation united in conquest. It wasn't until just before the fall that the Protectorate adopted a policy of peaceful coexistence with their neighbors. Having endured centuries of conflict, leaders arose among them echoing the teachings of peace. This caused a divide between the Protectorate, with unrest among the clans, calling for a culling of those who are unworthy of the protection from the divine order. The Kaivek orcs are split into the Renkai and the Vek. Honor, power, tranquility. Through staying centered, their power grows. The Renkai believe in ultimate focus in controlling their immense power. When a Renkai becomes enraged, there aren't many men or beasts that can live and tell the tale. There are rumors that the Renkai, or perhaps the entire Kaivek race, have a dragon-born lineage. Celestial, purpose, fate. When one stargazes, they find beauty lies beyond our world. When the Vek stargaze, they find fate that lies beyond our time. Star maps, numerology, and prophecy are integral parts of a Vek's life. Great leaders read the heavens to decipher how wars will unfold, which empires will rise and fall, and often Vek ask themselves, are we too late? The kingdom of Peria's borders encompass the great forest of Eranthia. The capital of Amira is among the oldest and most beautiful cities in the world. Its royal families can trace their lineage back to the days of the Dark Fires. The Perian universities and martial studies are unparalleled in Vera. Many of the citizens of the kingdom venture out, wishing to spread their knowledge of art and science to the rest of Vera. These ventures are often subsidized by the royal households of Peria in hopes that it will foster a better relationship with their neighbors. The elven race is generally a secretive one, and is generally a patriarchal society. Elves tend to keep within the natural borders of their forest, but in the past millennia, the Riverlands have begun to see colonies of elves appear. There are rumors abound throughout the darker circles of Vera that there lies a particular lineage of elves that exist within the Underrealm. The elves come in two flavors as well, Empyrean and Pyri. Imperial, pride, culture. Though not as numerous as the Kalar, the Empyreans are a force to be reckoned with. With an elite military force and a highly structured government, the people of Imperia surely have a plan to carve their place in the world. Nature, balance, fury. All things come to balance in time, and nature always has her way. Don't let their love for nature fool you, though. The Pyri rarely take prisoners. Whether by bow or spear, the Pyri's legacy will take root. The Tolnar fled to the Underrealm to escape the corruption that befell Vera at the hands of the Ancients. The Tolnar are a combination of the four major races and many minor races that were left behind during the fall. All of these races coexisting for millennia has resulted in the Tolnar. They've blended into a race that take up mammalian, bestial, feline, or reptilian appearances. Polnar will not be returning from Vera via a divine gate, as they never left. They will instead be re-emerging from the Underrealm for the first time. Now, after a millennium of dormancy, the divine gateways have reignited. These gates once allowed the people of Vera to escape the fall, and they now seemingly want us to return. These divine gateways lead to the ruins of the 4 capital cities of Vera, where the races once staged their desperate evacuation. Now keep in mind, the races going into Vera are not necessarily the races that left. So much time has passed that most of Vera has been lost to legend at this point. Sanctus, presumably in an effort to keep it safe, was devoid of essence. So technology and the way of life was not the same, as they didn't have the essence to rely on. Quite a bit of knowledge has been lost, because they had to learn to rely on the technology instead of the magic, so the races going back into Vera are not the same races that left. Now, a few months prior to the players' arrival on Vera, there were the first expeditions. These expeditions were meant to scout the land and set the bedrock for what would be the rebuilding of civilization on Vera. Unfortunately, things are never that simple, which I for one am glad for, because that would make for a pretty crappy game. The early days of the return were difficult. The expedition struggled with supplies, mutinies, and deserters, and needless to say, the players have their work cut out for them as we work to build up our nodes and re-establish and repopulate Vera. Chief among these concerns are the Ancients, who we know very little about and could be anywhere, waiting to entice and corrupt the returning races. From our starting point, the players will work to build up their cities, their religions, and their races. Depending on how the players develop the world, different events will happen as a result. The basic narrative, which unfolds differently depending on what the players choose to do themselves, contains questlines for classes, cultures, regions, nodes, races, and religions. Beyond the story quests, players will have to contend with events that occur, some randomly, based on the player's actions. Some events are given through public quests, and they could have disastrous effects if failed. If left unchecked, the disaster could spread from one region to another, or even across the globe. This could, for example, be the awakening of a dragon or a lich that attacks the land, or a natural disaster that could affect the nodes and settlements that players have worked so hard to develop. In this sense, it is truly a player-driven story, and no 2 servers will be the same. And that, ladies and gentlemen, should catch you up to the Ashes of Creation stories, where we will start. We could try and deep dive into what the different quest lines could be and what they could entail, but we really don't know anything, so we would just be speculating at this point. Let me know your thoughts on the story so far. I, for one, have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me how cute I am, consider subscribing to the channel to see more like this, and I'll see you next time.